Re-recording. Right, okay, so it's the 22nd of September 2014. Yeah. Hi, Guy. We're just going to have a little brief interview regarding your purpose in we're going to Town Hall today. So, where do you want to start?
Right, we're going to go to the county court. First and foremost, we're going to ask questions about documents that we took in to the county court.
Okay.
26th of June.
That's a request and notice that we made for CPR.
Yes, it's a request and notice to please provide a copy of all the records from the computer database for case number. This request is made in compliance with my statutory rights and under 5.42, supply of documents to parties, including new parties. The documents should be supplied within 48 hours after a written request from them was received. Well, it's now 3 months. And in fact, they turned it into a freedom of information.
Subject access, I believe.
Subject access, which is nonsense because it's under CPR. And CPR 541, supply of documents from court records. Any party to proceedings may be supplied from the records of the court with a copy of any document relating to those proceedings, including documents filed before the claim was commenced. And obviously, when we get access to the file, we expect to see that there is a seal on the document, on the court seal on it, and every court, so Howell shall be called a county court and shall be a court of record and shall have a seal.
Good luck with that one.
Good luck.
So what's basically happened there then is that you've requested documentation under their own rules.
Under their own rules.
They're not providing
which
it.
They're obligated to provide. They're obligated to provide it within 48 hours. Provide us access to the file, and they haven't provided it.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's not there. So, as it's not there, I'm going to inform them that basically they're operating in private capacity. They're not really a court, we know that. They're engaged in private commerce.
Yeah.
If they don't allow us access to the file, which means that they've stolen properties based on these documents, then I'm going to need to come back and perhaps seize the building and arrest the occupants.
I think that needs to be done. Also, I think it's important to let people know that the county court in Hereford is actually in Barclays Bank Chambers.
The county court is actually in Barclays Bank Chambers, it's called. That's the address of it. And of course that's where all the problems began. So it's Barclays Bank.
Okay.
So if they don't provide the documentation, which they're supposed to in 40 hours, then we can only presume that it doesn't exist, which we presume that anyway. But they're still stealing property and still trading with our property completely without our permission. So that's that.
Okay. What is the next issue that you're dealing with today?
The next issue is I've had an injunction placed upon me back on the...
I believe I had one of those as well.
Yeah, and you had one, even though you had nothing to do with it. And what happened is we placed a notice and demand in accordance with CPR Part 11, disputing the court's jurisdiction.
Right, this is to do with Bodnor Manor.
To do with Bodnor Manor, it's an injunction. It's nothing to do with the criminal case that we've got going on. It's to do with the guy put in a complaint, which I then went to court to challenge, because obviously he's not the owner of the property and he's got no documentation to prove he's the owner. And when I went to the court, the judge refused to allow me to cross-examine him.
What was the judge's name in that case?
Judge Rundle. So, shall I read this off?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a notice in demand, and it states, in accordance with CPR Part 11, disputing the court's jurisdiction. I acknowledge receipt of this order, enclosed, which is null and void in fact and law, in accordance with CPR Part 11, as the court had no jurisdiction to make such an order. I never received any written application and attachment issued by the court in good time as required in law, in order to enable me to present myself in court and to defend and prove that there was such an application, and to enable me to prove that the order is an abusive process which includes the conduct of the court under common law. I have not been presented with a shred of evidence to disprove my ownership of the property. I presented evidence to the court, but the court simply ignored it. That's attached. I was denied the opportunity to cross-examine the applicant who was in court. In the event that there was any change in ownership post the date, 15th of the 6th, 2014, it must have been obtained by deception, contrary to Section 116 and 107 of the Land Registration Act, 1925, the Fraud Act 2006, and the Theft Act 1968. If the court has been presented with any evidence which was concealed from me, it was a secret court. This is clear evidence that the court did not have any jurisdiction, and therefore the order is null and void as affirmed in Part 11 of the CPR. I demand herewith that the court provide me with all the papers that were in front of the court, if any, that were concealed from me, and to whom it may concern. I will produce this notice of evidence of criminal activity by the court service and judiciary, in this case the conduct of Judge Rundle. Further evidence of fraud is in paragraph 4. Mr. Guy Taylor and Mrs. Linda Taylor shall pay the claimant's costs of these proceedings, summarily assessed in the sum of £11,846.42.
I'll get my chequebook out now.
Yes. At this time, I have not been provided with any bill of costs, which on the face of it is extortion. Implied admission absent a response.
Okay, I can see that you've got some stamps on there. What are they?
Well, yes, I took it in on the 12th of September, but unfortunately they stamped it with the wrong date, the 11th.
9/11.
9/11. So I then asked for it to be restamped with the correct date, which they did, and we've heard nothing since, and we've received nothing from the court. So obviously
No surprise
they're
there.
trying to make orders. We know they're doing it in a private capacity. They've got they've got no law to do so.
Right. And I think, was there another matter you were going to go into Hereford Magistrates Court?
Into Hereford Magistrates Court, and this is to the CPS, and this is in the criminal realm of the same, because the charge against myself is under the 2012 Legal Aid and Sentencing Act, which means I was trespassing inside my own building. And what I require from the CPS, which the judge agreed with me and has given them 42 days to provide that.
Is this the unless order?
The unless order that was on the 10th of September. And I'm just to make sure that they know, that we know, that, and we're serving notice of it. It's to the CPS. It's a notice, court order. It's got the URN number. Documents required from the CPS by order of Hereford Magistrates Court on the 10th of September 2014 and to be presented within 42 days of that hearing. Documentation to prove that James David Davis acquired the title legitimately in 2014. The sale of transfer completion statement. The full land registry documents. The title deed showing James David Davis's name. Evidence of who purchased the property, stroke land from Guy Taylor, and any documents to prove that the previous occupiers were evicted. And the court has agreed that those documents have to be provided within 42 days. And we know they're what the CPS require, because the CPS, in an internal email that we've received through a whistleblower, have stated that that is what they require to establish ownership of the property. So time's ticking on. They've only got another 28 days to do that.
Very interesting. Also on that note, did you want to inform everybody about these messages from the police that people have been getting?
We've reported 3 vehicles stolen from.
I meant no. Where the police have been leaving text messages and voicemails.
That's what I'm saying. We've reported 3 vehicles stolen from Bottom Manor, which the police, which we did with a notice again and a crime report. The police don't seem to be wanting to address the fact that these 3 vehicles have been stolen and are literally somewhere else. But what's also happened is someone else went down to the police station to report a vehicle that had been stolen from Bottom Manor, independently of myself, nothing to do with me. And he went down and started making the report out. They were quite happy to take the report because the vehicle had been seen on the road. And then when he got to the bit about where it had been stolen from, which is Bottom Manor, the police said if it's got to do with Guy Taylor, it's civil, and threw him out the police station.
And people have been having some voicemails left them from
yes.
police.
Yes.
Yes.
And also, on top of that, someone who was arrested for burglary at Bodmin Manor was supposed to go in to answer the bail last Thursday, and I told them that they didn't really need to because there wasn't any evidence, there wasn't going to be any charges. So they rang up beforehand to ask if that was going to be the case, and were told that the police would get back to them. They later received a voicemail saying it was correct, they weren't required, there was no further charges, but that to beware of Guy Taylor as he's a dangerous individual and knows dangerous people. So we'd like to know who those dangerous people are and why to beware of myself.
Why do you think the police would be getting involved, leaving people such slanderous messages like this about you?
No idea really, other than they're worried about what's going on. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
And it needs explaining. I rung the police, and I gave the police officer in question, I left a message stating that I'd be giving 24 hours to contact me and to be a man and to explain his explain the message that he's left, that we've got of evidence, because it's defamatory. and if he doesn't ring within 24 hours, then I will be making an official complaint and pursuing the matter.
And of course, we've got this on a voicemail, which will ultimately be uploaded anyway.
Yes, that's right. And the chap is DC Matthews.
Thanks for that, Guy. We'll have a catch up once we come out of the courts.
Yes, okay.
Can you see it? The worst is over. The monsters in my head are scared of love. Finding people, listen up. It's never too late to change your luck. So don't let them steal your life.